Good morning, all. Today I am discussing about the next topics. mm, Remaining topic. So the topic name is perceptual constancy. Okay, so perceptual constancy means uh, perceptions are different from one person to another person, and also perception is always changing in general. But some of them are is constant. Otherwise, there is no stability in the working and also in your life. Okay, so both are very very important. So in some things we to uh, have to maintain some constancy in perception. So otherwise, everything you have to see that is difficult and also that is confusing. So you are unable to handle the situations, and also you are not existing in your environment. Okay, so there is a big problem for everyone. Okay, so constancy is one of the more sophisticated forms of perceptual organization. That is one of the more sophisticated form of the perceptual organization. This concept gives a person a sense of stability in this changing world. Okay, so this concept is giving a person a sense of stability. Okay, so in this changing world. Okay, so world is continuously changing. So from generation to generation and year to year. So and the person sense, but the person sense is constant. That means stability. If the world is changing, but the perception is in the perception of the human being is no change. Suppose some principles, some basic principles are there. Suppose you don't lie and also maintain peace, and also you should be honest, and something like that. So how to maintain the things when the world is changing or not. Okay, so what changes in the world is common, but we have to maintain some consistency and constancy in some of the things of things in our life. So suppose you have to maintain all these things, loyalty and responsibility and uh, spirituality, so and maintain peace. Okay, so these are all the things. Okay, don't lie. So these are the common principles when the world is changing or not. Okay, so there is a constancy. So based on this example, so the perception is also same. So some of the things in the perception you have to maintain some constancy, otherwise you have to face the problem. This principle permits the individuals to have some constancy or stability in a tremendously variable and highly complex world. So because the world is complex and also very huge, then you have to some constancy or stability. Then you have some stability in a tremendously variable and highly complex world. So because so many things are varies, that means there are some changes in the world. Because it is a highly complex world, then we have to maintain stability while changing the world or not. So if anything varies, then you will be stable and your perception will be stable. So then if constancy were not a work at work, the world would be very chaotic and disorganized for the individual, because the world is not suitable for all, because some of them are facing some problems with the world, and some of them are facing some of the problems with the world. So it is disorganized thing, because so many countries are there. So and within the country also there are so many cultures and traditions are there, and so many changes are there. The way of behavior and the way of living. So suppose the way of living, so and way of talking. So these are all different from one place to another place. Then you have to adjust any type of situation and any type of culture and any type of traditions. Okay, so you have to adopt each and everything. Then you have to maintain some constancy. So principles are common in every country. So because these are the principles are used in any type of the any in the any country. That means suppose responsibility is there for in the total countries in the world, you must have this. Okay. So and also trustworthiness, that is also needful, and also don't lie, that is also needful, and peace, that is also needful. So these are all the things which are needed for every country's people. Okay. So if they are following or not following, that is different, but these are all universally acceptable principles. That's why it is called as universal human values. Okay. So for a total universe, there is a common values are there for human beings, then you have to maintain compulsory. Okay. So that is universe based. Okay. So that's why the constancy is a very important where you are living. So you have to maintain some constancy in the perception. So there are several aspects of constancy. There are several aspects of constancy. What is that? First one is shape constancy. So in this shape constancy, whenever an object appears to maintain its shape despite marked changes in the retinal image. Suppose if you understand with this point, with this example, the top of a glass bottle is seen as circular, whether we view in from the side or from the top. So whether you have to see the bottle from the top and also from side, then the bottleneck, the bottleneck will be in the shape of circle. Whether you have to see in the front of the bottle, front side of the bottle, or top of the bottle, but we have to see anyway, then the bottleneck is an round shape, that is constancy. Okay. So whether you have to see this one this side or this side or this side or this side or top side. So if you have to see any side of the bottle and also top of the bottle, then there is a shape is common, that is circle. That means your perception is common. Whether you have to see the person in any angle, then your perception is common. Whether you have to see the organization in any side, then the perception is common. Okay. So there is no change at all. Okay. So that is that just like that, there is shape constancy. So the shape is you have to see the shape in any form, then there is a constancy, there is no change in the shape, that is called as shape constancy. This is the first point in perceptual constancy. Then second point in the perceptual constancy is size constancy. So size constancy means you have to maintain the same size. Then the size constancy, that is called as size constancy. That means then you have to see the example. Suppose the reflection of the image in your eyes, suppose I have to see in your eyes, then some image is there. So the image in your eye, that means the reflection of the image in your retina, eye retina, that images are very smaller, but there is no that is actually that is not a small images, because that is reflected in our eyes with only small size, but the actual size is common, there is no changes in the actual size. Okay. But you are seeing you see that image with a bigger image, because uh, that is very closer than the or point is the for example, the players in cricket field on the opposite side of the field do not look smaller than those closer to you, even though their images on the retina of the eye are much smaller. So the opposite side field is, you have to see the people in a small, but in our retina they are seeing in a, they are reflected in a very small images, but you have to see the original image. Whether you have to see the small image in our eye, there is a small image, it is reflected so in a form of small image, but how to see the image in a bigger form. So that is the size constancy. Okay. So whether you have to see anything, then there is a need of size constancy. Okay. So that is called as size constancy. So the size constancy refers to the fact as an object is moved farther away from us, we tend to see it as more or less invariant in size. So suppose the object is moved from our side, far away from our side, then ultimately the image size is reduced, and also the in the reflection of the image is also in your eye also, that is also reduced. Okay. So that is size constancy. Okay, so this is about size constancy. Okay, so the example is image size in a reflection of the image in the eye of the human being, and what we have to see, that is different size. So but in your eye only the small image is reflected. Suppose somebody is seeing in our eye, there is no clarity at all, only just they are identifying something is going on, so they are seeing with your reflection of your eyes. Okay, so then next one, color constancy. So color constancy is also another important thing. So in the perceptual constancy, under this, color constancy implies that familiar objects are perceived to be of the same color in varied conditions. Okay, so under this one, color constancy, it is implies that familiar objects are perceived to be of the same color. Suppose you have to perceive some different objects, but you have to perceived as a same color, they are having the same color in varied conditions, but in the case of different conditions, the owner of a red car sees it as red in the bright sunlight as well as in dim light. So without perceptual constancy, the size, shape and color of objects would change as the worker moved about, and it would make the job almost impossible. Okay, so suppose if you are seeing your red car in a bright light or in a dim light, then you have to identify your car. Okay, so whether it is in a sunlight or whether it in a dim light. Okay, so in both, he is identified his car as red color, so and he simply identified which car he belongs. So that means which car belongs to him. Okay, so then, and without perceptual constancy, size, shape and color of objects would change. So without perceptual constancy, then there is no equality in between size, shape and color, and also objects would change as the worker moved about, and it would make the job almost impossible. So in that particular situation, there is a confusion occurred. Then admit the worker is moved about, and it would make the job almost impossible. So at that situation, your job is very impossible. So make the job almost impossible. That means sorry. So what task you have to choose, then you are unable to complete this, and it is impossible to complete the job. Okay, so and also the worker is also moved about, it would make the job almost impossible. Okay, so ultimately the worker is moved. So there is a need of perceptual constancy, then only the employee is working in a organization. So without changing frequently, so they are working for some time for the organization, some certain period of time. After that they leave. Okay, so that is no problem, but immediately they left, that means there is a problem in that. So because he does not have the perceptual constancy. Okay, then next one is social identity theory. So next important topic is social identity theory. So under this theory is said by Henry Teifels. Okay, so this theory is proposed by the Henry Teifels. Greatest contribution to psychology was social identity theory. So greatest contribution in psychology was social identity theory. Okay, so he said social identity theory. So this is actually related to the psychology. So this plays a very important role in the psychology, social identity theory. So social identity is a person's sense of who they are based on their group memberships. Okay, so what is the main concept of the social identity theory is, social identity is a person's sense of who they are based on their group membership. Okay, so the person's sense who they are based on their group membership, that means who people are based on their group membership. Okay, that is called as social identity. Social identity. So Teifel proposed that the groups, example social class, So in the society, so status in the society, then family, football team, etc. So just like it as example. So groups, okay, social, based on the social class, then you are framing one group, and based on family, so then you have to frame some groups, and based on suppose football game, then you have to frame some teams. So this is very important in our life. So which people belong to are an important source of pride and self-esteem. So these people are belonging to very important things, important sources of pride and also self-esteem. So at that time they are feeling, they felt very pride, and also they have self-esteem. So all these factors are going on. That's why some of the problems are there. So groups gives us a sense of social identity. Okay, groups are gives us a sense of social identity. So groups are giving a sense for the social identity, a sense of belonging to the social world. That means the sense is belonging to a social world. Where the senses are came from social world. Okay, so without social world, we are unable to understand the feelings and response of other persons. Okay, so then we divided the world into them and us. So you have to divide the world into two categories, them and us, based on through a process of social categorization. We put people into social groups. Under the social categorization, then you have to put people into social groups that are based on some criteria: social class, family, and football team. They are just like this. And categorization, that is very, very important. So we put people into social groups. So we put people into social groups. Now after that, you have to divide the people into social groups. So then after that, Henry Tyfel proposed that stereotyping, putting people into groups and categories. Okay, so that Tyfel proposed that stereotyping, that is putting people into groups and categories. You have to put the people into groups and categories. Is based on a normal cognitive process. It is normally done by everyone. So this is a normal cognitive process. Then the tendency to group things together. So the tendency is you have to group the things together. In doing so, we tend to exaggerate. So that is another important thing. So in doing so, we tend to exaggerate. Okay. So the tendency to group things together, then in doing so, we tend to exaggerate. So sometimes we are exaggerated. So that is a simple thing. So we don't bother about that. Okay. So then the points in the social identity theory. So there are two things, very, very important thing. So if so, there is 2 points are there. One is the differences between groups. So that means differences in between the groups. So then the similarities of things in the same group. Then you have to identify the similarities also. First you have to identify differences, and after that you have to identify the similarities. So this is known as in-group us and out-group them. So that means those are having the same things, belonging to same category. So then you have to put them as a group. Okay. So that is this is known as in-group as, that means as, and out-group them. Some out people are also there. Then you have to then make it as a group, and you have to arrange some places. Then in the same situation, the central hypothesis of social identity theory is what group members of an in-group will seek to find negative aspects. So these are very, very important thing. So Seifel and Turner proposed, and there are three mental processes involved in evaluating others as us or them. Okay. So that is group, in group and out group. These take place in a particular order. Okay. So in that there is an in group and also out group. So these take place in a particular order. So these are the stages, social identity theory stages. One of the thing is, so social categorization. Second one, social identification. Third one, social comparison. So these three are very, very important. So social categorization means, so social categorization under this first one is social categorization. So you have to divide the people into social category. So based on age or based on age, so all these things are influenced. So that is based on uh, so these take place in a particular order. So social categorization, that is called as social categorization. So after that, social identification. So everybody wants to identity in the society. So there is a desire. So that is not a bad one. So that is also important one. So after that, social comparison. So after that, social identification, you have to so so in group and out group, these take place in a particular order. Okay. So this is and social comparison. After that, you have to identify the things in the from the in the social identity. Then you have to make a comparison. After that, there is a evaluation. Okay. So this is about social identity theory. And the next one is perceptual context. So next important point, important thing is perceptual context. So right now we are only discussing the same topic, perceptual process. Okay, so that is a huge topic. So in our examination, they are asking only some of the parts in this total concept. So then you are ready to prepare each and every concept in this unit. Okay, so there is no chance to uh, left any topics. Okay, leave any topics. Then perceptual context. So what is the meaning of perceptual context? The higher and most sophisticated form of organization or context. So that is most important form. Then it gives meaning and value to simple stimuli. So this is only, these are basic answers for only simple stimuli. Then objects, events, situations, and other persons in the environment. And after that, it gives meaning and value to the simple stimuli and also objects, events, situations, and other persons in the environment. The organizational structure and culture provide the primary context in which workers and managers do their perceiving. So the organizational structure and culture provide the primary context. They are only provide primary context in which workers and managers. So workers and managers then do their perceiving. So a primary context in which workers and managers do their perceiving. Okay. So then for example, a verbal order, a new policy. So a pat on the back, a raised eyebrow, or a suggestion takes on special meaning when placed in the context of the work organization. Okay. So for example, there is a verbal order, a new policy, or a pat on the back. So a raised eyebrow or a suggestion takes on special meaning when placed in the context of the work organization. Okay. So that is a perceptual context. Then after that, perceptual defense. So perceptual defense. So under this perceptual defense, so in this perceptual defense, closely related to perceptual context is also closely related to the perceptual context is the perceptual defense. Okay. So a primary may build a defense against stimuli or situational events in a particular context that are personally or culturally unacceptable or threatening. Okay, so a person may build a defense against stimuli or a situational events. So, in a particular context that are personally or culturally unacceptable. In some of the times they are unacceptable and or threatening is the problem of threatening. Then accordingly, perceptual defense may play a very important role in understanding union management and supervisor subordinates. Okay, so you have to use the ship management and also okay, so understanding union management and supervisor subordinate relationship. Then in the perceptual defense may play a very important role. It plays an important role in understanding union management. So management, how the management is working and also who are the unions, who are the people are involved there, and supervisor subordinates. So relationship. Okay. So most studies verify the existence of a perceptual defense mechanism. Okay. So most of the studies are verify the existence of a perceptual defense mechanism. Okay. So you have a perceptual defense mechanism. The general conclusion drawn from these studies are that people may learn to avoid certain conflicts. So under this, most studies verify the existence of a perceptual defense mechanism. So most of the studies are identifying there is an existence of perceptual defense mechanism. The general conclusion drawn from these studies are that people may learn to avoid certain conflicting, threatening, or unacceptable aspects of the context. Okay, so from the general condition conclusions drawn from so in general conclusions drawn from these studies are that people may learn to avoid certain conflicting. So the people are avoid to try to evaluate the conflicts in their lives. Then conclusions drawn from these studies. Then we have to find out the conclusions drawn from these studies, and the various defenses may be denial of an aspect by modification and distortion, by change in the perception. Then the last but not the least is recognition but refusal to change. Okay, so the various defenses may be denial of an aspect. Okay, so the various defense may be denial. Suppose there is some denial, that means they don't accept some things, and by modification and distortion, and there is any modification or distortion by change in the perception. Is there a change in the perception? Then the last but not the least is recognition but refusal to change. Then not but not the least is recognition but refusal to change. Then you have to recognize them but don't refusal to change. Okay, so then this is perceptual defense. Okay, that means you have to defend yourself or with another. Previously I am seeing this one. Right now there is a difference in between previous one and right now. Okay, suppose you are giving some of the component to someone, then you have to observe the changes in that component, but he strongly defend, no, 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 so you are giving this one, so I am not changing anyone. So because your perception is says that is not your component, so there is a changes in that component. Okay, so you have to observe there is a changes in that component. Okay, so you have to comparison what you have to see previous and what you have to see present. So then you have to defend perceptual defense. Or sometimes you have to see someone in something in past. Right now you are seeing the same one, but you are but you said there is a difference in between previous one and present one. So there is a perceptual that is caused by perceptual defense. So what is the reason for it? Perceptual defense. You have to defend yourself and also you have to defend your perception based on the situation. Okay, so that is the perceptual difference. Okay. Okay, so today I stopped over here.